Welcome, everyone, to another chapter of Murder in Stratton County. A murder mystery with twists and turns. Written by Elizabeth Spoon and Ryland Mason. Narrated by me, Brian Shepard. Episode 2. Skull and Bones. As Alice cleaned the front table, she watched as Brian and the new officer drove by, thinking most likely to hide away. Shaking her head at the thought, it was time to hit the bank before they closed. Now that there was a murderer on the loose, most people stayed home after 5. A lot of the businesses on the main street have been forced to close early, as none of the second shift employees want to work when it's dark, afraid they might be next. It's already close to 4, and the store's pretty much empty. Shep was out back cleaning up from the lunch rush. Today's special, meatloaf and mashed potatoes, with a side of green beans, which for some reason always fascinated Alice, as she could never understand what it was about her father's recipe that everyone loved. "How's that apple pie, Duchess?" Alice asked as she brought over her check while retrieving the dirty dishes from the table. "Well, the Lord is telling me not to take another bite, yet the devil is winning," she answered, taking another forkful. "Glad you like it. Tabitha's going to take care of you as I have to head to the bank. I'm sure I'll see you in the morning when you grab your abnormal order. I don't remember you ever ordering bran muffins before. A request from a guest?" "Oh, no. My sister's coming into town for a short visit. She phoned me just last night. Out of the blue, really, as she has not been here for years. I told her not to come as it's not safe. Yet she said she'd be fine," she finished, rolling her eyes, showing she was not overjoyed. "Oh, how nice," stacking the rest of the dishes on top. "Make sure you bring her by so I can meet her," Alice said as she turned to bring the dishes to the back and head off to the bank. Duchess just nodded. Grabbing yesterday's deposit, Alice headed for the bank. Due to the accidental death of poor Rhonda Larson, Bank President Kevin Walker had no choice but to hire a replacement teller to keep his lines down. Poor Rhonda, whose cause of death was labeled a freak accident by the coroner, having the yoga ball slip from under her, caused her to fall backwards, snapping her neck on impact with the kitchen floor. Done. Dead. Lesson here is to be careful with your yoga ball. It might just kill you. The deposit should not take that long, now that everyone has already come through the bank. That's when Alice noticed Jordan walking away from the teller. "Dr. Prescott, nice to see you. How's Brian?" Alice asked, hoping to get an update, as the paper has been somewhat vague. "Alice, Jordan, please. I believe I've been here long enough. Nice to see you as well. I keep hoping that Brian comes by to eat. We are worried about him." "I'm sure he will appreciate that when I tell him. For now, he's taking it one day at a time. Seems like it's something new every day. We will definitely have to stop by." "All right. Well, I won't keep you, as I noticed Brian and the new officer, Darby, is it, drive by." As soon as Alice mentioned Brian driving by, Jordan's expression changed, which Alice caught in that moment. "It was nice seeing you, Alice. I promise we'll stop by. Have a great evening," Jordan finished by giving a smile and turning to walk out. "Next," Alice jumped as she was lost in thought. As the new teller was counting and confirming what was on the deposit slip, Alice noticed an advert posted to the teller window regarding the mayor's spring ball. She could have sworn it was canceled, as the annual ball was held at Brian's. The fire had put those plans on hold. Even Sheriff Ratchet said it would be dangerous to have it with the murders happening. Planning on going to the spring ball, are we, Alice? Turning around to see that it was none other than Kevin Walker. Great. Hello, Kevin. Yeah, I was just reading it. I was not aware it was still on. Dr. Prescott just put it up. Not sure why, as I doubt anyone would show up being afraid that they would be killed. If I was mayor, I know that my balls would be grand, Kevin said as he looked off as if he could picture it in his mind and was extremely sure of himself, and obviously not aware of how he sounds. Alice just rolled her eyes as the teller snickered. Right. Well, you keep thinking that, Kevin, and on that note, I have to go. She gave a fake smile and walked away. Alice would have to ring up Brian and see if the spring ball was indeed happening. It certainly would raise the mood in town. Yet on everyone's mind is the killer. Who would be next, as it has been some time? Then concern and worry came over her, as maybe this was a bad idea, giving the illusion that everyone was fine. And the moment we let our guard down, bam, another victim. Alice pondered this on the way back to the store. Looking up towards Brian's house, Alice could just make out the building, thanks to the lights she could see that were on. Then, before turning away, the house seemed to vanish. No more lights. Jordan was just pulling up to the circular driveway, parking behind Officer Darby's cruiser. It was quiet as he got out of the car and proceeded to take those few steps up to the front door. Entering the house seemed like he was walking through a haunted mansion. Trying to turn the light on in the front room proved useless, as he realized no power. Also, where's Darby? Jordan figured that Brian must be upstairs, gathering more things to bring back to the cottage. Not sure why he is still getting things, as the house should be done by the end of the week. Brian can move back in, and the ball can move forward, getting Brian out of this slump of a mood that he's been in. Jordan decided to use the old servants' stairway that led from the kitchen in the basement all the way up to the attic, which housed most of the staff back in the day. It made it easy for staff to have their own way up and down the house, so not to be walking through other areas. The stairwell is not used that much, as Brian uses the main stairs, and there are no servants here. A dark and damp place, he thought, as he took each step. Reaching the door to the second floor, it seemed someone had already been through here, as the door was left open. Jordan was sure that anyone in the house would have heard the click of the door shutting closed. Using his phone as a flashlight, Jordan noticed that all but one door was closed. Still not hearing anything, Jordan slowly moved towards the room. Jordan walked into the room, stopping as he shined the light, looking around the room. Maybe someone was hiding in the closet. It wouldn't have anything to do with the footprints that could be barely seen in the dust on the floor. A room obviously not used. Now or never. Jordan was quick to open the door, finding someone he was not expecting. Brian, hiding in the back behind some boxes against the wall, with his head between his legs and his arms wrapped around. Looking up with his eyes, Jordan could tell Brian was scared and relieved that it was Jordan who opened the door. Yet, why is he in here? Oh my God! Brian, are you okay? What happened? Crouching down in front of him, holding out his hands to hold and comfort Brian, who seems to be breaking down, crying. Jordan has never seen him like this, so something must have happened for him to be shaking and scared. He was here, Brian managed to get out while burying his head against Jordan. Who? Who was here, babe? The killer. I saw him coming up the stairs after the power went out. So you came in here to hide? Oh, babe, I'm so sorry I was not here. Let's go find Officer Darby, as I don't think anyone is here anymore. Brian was already moving out of the bedroom with Jordan as they made their way down the main stairs, through the front foyer, and into the parlor. Officer Darby? Jordan yelled out. Babe, I have a bad feeling about this. What if he's dead? Brian said, looking even more worried. A light was seen coming from across the foyer, in the direction of the dining room. Brian and Jordan could see that it was Officer Darby as he started to make his way in their direction. Now, Jordan was quick to put the thought of a killer off onto the back burner for the moment, as the thought of finding his boyfriend dead in his home because his protection was not there really had Jordan fuming mad. Thank God. Are you all right, sir? Darby asked Brian, as Jordan stepped in front and center, blocking Brian. Where were you? Jordan demanded. The power went out, so I went back to my cruiser to get a flashlight. Really? So why is it that I find him stuffed in a closet, hiding because someone other than us was in the house, with you nowhere around? Why did you leave him alone? I'm sorry, Doctor. I don't want to hear it. You are his protection when I am not here. I can't bear to think of something happening to him. I swear I will end anyone who causes harm to him. Do your job. Jordan finished, turning and taking Brian by the hand. You have everything? Jordan asked as they made their way towards the front door. Time to leave. Yes, I'm ready to go. I'll call Dugan and let him know what happened. Making sure he had his duffel bag, all three left the house. Officer Darby was out first, checking the parking lot. He was also on the phone with Sheriff Ratchet, explaining the events that took place. A cry of shock ran out into the direction of Brian, who had just opened the driver door. What is it? Jordan asked as he came running up from behind. Brian just standing there pointing at his seat. As they all looked, they saw what looked like a human skull and some bones, just sitting on the seat, with what looked like blood dripping down from the eye sockets. You better get up here, Sheriff. Looks like the killer left something behind, Darby said before hanging up the phone. Dr. Prescott, I advise taking the mayor home with you, as he should not be alone. Marks and the sheriff are on their way. I am sorry that this has happened, truly. Jordan then walked Brian down to his car and helped him get in. All set, he drove down the hill, taking a left at his road, and then on to the farm. Brian hasn't said a word since getting into the car. Jordan has his hands full, for sure. Duchess, being her nosy self, looked out her living room window and noticed a car pulling up front, turning its lights off, and then the driver getting out. She drove herself? Shocked, she proceeded to open the front door and step out onto the porch. You're early, Duchess said. Nice to see you too, sister. Anita, what in the devil brings you to my doorstep? If anyone knew Anita and saw the grin on her face, they would know that she was up to no good. Hey everyone, Rylan here. Just a quick reminder that you can find more information about me and the stories I write by going to my Facebook at facebook.com/author.r.mason. From there, you can find updates, follow me on Instagram, talk to me, and more. Thank you for taking the time to listen and for the support. An R. Mason Media Production. Copyright 2022.